Hello everyone, welcome to Plutus IAS Academy and myself Akshay Gurubhaiye, Faculty Geography Optional. So here we are for today discussing that Geography Mains Optional paper. You know that Geography is absolutely interesting subject, right? And this paper is just like a land breaking on the line. It breaks many prejudices about the geography, that yes, geography, it seems like it is somehow more difficult to get score for, somehow it is again there are more questions on the gray areas as such, and like the way. But this analysis of the paper will show you no, that's not the case. The question and the paper as such is absolutely on the very expected line, and what you will find this paper, right, will be scoring also. It's just because when you will find the questions on a regular line, okay, or expected line, you will find the scoring potential of the paper is also high. Okay, so many questions you will find those they are repeated, and yes, many questions are somehow easy to attempt. No doubt you will find some gray areas question. Gray areas in the sense I do found one, that speleotherm, that question, okay, speleothems wala question. Otherwise even pollution dome and the rest questions are quite easy to deal with. Okay, so with this basic understanding or the introduction, now I would like to start this analysis of the paper. So the first thing, what is the observation about the paper? Have a look over. Paper is absolutely on expected line. If you are going to read it as no sir, paper is somehow more difficult or paper is somehow more easy, so that's not the case. Paper is, it is usually on the expected line. Now it's again based on evaluator also, but what based on my analysis and even the other teachers also, you will find this time it may be a case in geography you will get a good score also, right? It just because expected line. Apart from it, you will find the focus area is again current affairs. Even now, right, again in the sense, you will find many questions, yes, they are on the current affairs origin, like pollution dome, you will food security, yes, or even the problems in Indian cities also, you will find these are what current affairs. Though it is our common perception that in paper 1, this paper 1 is of theoretical nature, okay, so it is quite difficult to add current affairs into it. But believe me guys, that's not the case. The thing is, it's your skill now how you are going to add current affairs perspective into your answer, right? Current affair पे तो question मिलेगी ही आपको for sure, but yes, now it's your duty further, even those questions are not of the current affair ground as such, or sometimes they may seems like a geography GS origin. Now it's your duty how you make it more geographical, because अगर question geography optional है, that means now you have to write answer geographical perspective. If you are writing it as a general perspective, believe me, you are not going to get mark for sure. So for that matter, you need to add geographical perspective into it. Wherever it is possible, try to add Malthus theory, try to add Marx theory, demographic transition theory, crystallar theory, Weber's theory, then Heartland, Rimland, okay, the concept of Ratzel, possibilism, determinism, and areal differentiation, that kind of aspect to make your answer more geographical. How? We are going to discuss in our lectures also as usual, and even in this discussion also you will be getting how to add geographical perspective in your answer. Because yeah, many times say student ask me, sir, how to add or how to make our answer more geographical, because एक ही क्वेश्चन रहेगा, GS में भी आएगा and the same question you find even in the optional also. तो फिर तो डिफरेंस ही नहीं रहा ना. GS में जो आंसर लिखोगे अगर ऑप्शनल में लिखोगे, so in that case you are not going to get enough mark, right? That is what they expected. So that's why you need to add it. Now the questions are quite straight and clear, and whenever, believe me, whenever questions are quite straight and clear, now you will get to know that you will find many times only elucidate, clarify, okay, and explain. These terms are, or keywords are, tail-enders are quite common. That means what? Question is quite straight and clear without much difficulty to interpret what exactly question demands. Because you know, for answer writing, demand is the foremost thing. If you unable to understand the demand, believe me, you are not going to get enough score for sure. So the demand is absolutely important, and with straight and clear wording of the question, it is again getting say more say demand oriented as such. Now the thing is, but what is my observation whenever this kind of question is there? Straight and clear, justify, elucidate, explain, somehow discuss. Now you have to write number of points, as many as points possible, because in that case only you will find say getting more marks, because everyone else is doing the same thing. क्योंकि आपके जो सोर्सेज है वो किसी और के भी तो वही सोर्सेज है जो इसका ज्योग्राफी ऑप्शनल है, और अगर सेम सोर्स है, क्वेश्चन क्रिस्टल क्लियर है, राइट, one or two question may be difficult, right, but say if they are straight and clear, now it's your skill, say how many points and dimensions you can add into your answer. That really makes an evaluator not impressive as such, but yes, at least say above the average score. तभी मिलेगा when you add number of dimensions and points into it. Then questions are on repetitive themes. Yeah, you will find many questions, right? Warmth union वाला है, zip है, quantitative revolutions वाला है, or even say the physical geography also you will find those questions. But human geography, yeah, these are quite well defined areas where UPSC is going to ask you question. So, and I told you in our lecture that human geography is the real geography. It is really interesting. Okay, now it's my duty how to make it more interesting. But yes, say even in the paper you will find repetitive themes in the human geography itself, so it becomes easier for you to prepare for. क्योंकि ना physical geography पे लोग बहुत से when you prepare enough you will find physical geography difficult to deal with, right? So human geography is your rescue point over there. It will help you to say attempt say 100% paper as such. Then the question on gray areas, right, on terms, you will find there are, right, especially in section A, speleothems. But the thing is, if that question is difficult for you, so it's difficult for almost everyone, right? It is not the case the one who is say like say having a PhD might be aware about this say gray area term, speleothem like, or earlier there was a basket of egg topography. The thing is, now do believe in yourself, even if you don't know this thing, right? If you can attempt it, just do attempt it, or otherwise don't be much panic about it. It's because the nature of paper, the difficulty level of paper for you is similar say to other individual who is also preparing with the same optional, right? So hardly there are one or two questions say from gray area, so you are lucky enough to say attempt this kind of paper. So, and even in the future this trend will be repeated by UPSC for sure. Okay, so with this say analysis we are just going to start it. Yes, Samar Singh, good afternoon. Yes, good afternoon, good afternoon. So starting with the section A, and starting with the, this is what a just like say UPSC has started with very fast bowling. right, in just like say in one day or test match, right, say, so it is just started with the googly as such, and the one who just unable to maintain his pace and balance, right, तो इसका impact आपको next successive answers में भी देखने मिलेगा, and that's the reason you have to keep patient over here. Say define speleothem and discuss the various forms and features of speleothems. It is absolutely a gray area question, ठीक है. I should use gray term rather than gray area because the thing is आप सभी को इसका आंसर पता है, right? Every one of you is quite aware about what it means by speleothem, but not in its representative way जो यहाँ दिया है. You are aware about this term. देखो, have you heard about guys this cast topography? Cast topography सुना है? Yeah, cast topography is the landform which develops in the Yugoslavia Karst region, which is having say typical underground or groundwater led features. Calcium carbonate topography is over there. You will find some locations in India also, in Meghalaya, in Gujarat some part, though they are not as extensive, but in China you will find majority of these features, right? So UPSC say if you find it in Savindra Singh, I do remember in the Savindra Singh, in the that last glossary kind of after every chapter, आपको ना उसपे कुछ ऐसे terms देखने मिलेंगे, and do focus those odd terms because for UPSC 10 markers are say this kind of question. आपको करना कुछ नहीं है, only do keep it in mind. If they appear in the examination, you find yourself more prepared, right? Every chapter end you will find, after every chapter end कुछ glossary या कुछ terms दिया है Savindra Singh, right? So those things will be quite easy to read also and quite easy to remember also, right? So you can do that way. So now what is the demand of the question? Now what we are going to, I will just provide you what is the demand, how to introduce further and say main body and conclusion, right? तो इस way में जाएंगे हम, that say it will be helpful for you also how to approach that question, ठीक है. So demand as usual 10 marker है, straight question है, and it is having 3 parts, right? It is just having a 3 parts guys. देखो, 1 define speleothem, 2nd define its various form, and 3rd features. तो I told you जब भी कभी 10 marker question and if it is divided in number of parts, that is your bonus, because even if you able to attempt it, so even at an average level you will get enough or more than average mark. Why? It's just due to the fact that this question, if you are going to attempt, say every question is of, every part is of 3 marks, right? Every part is of 3 marks. तो इसमें बेसिक भी लिख दोगे तो 1 2 1 2 1 2 मिलना ही है, 1 or 2 marks. So you will be having say enough 4 to 5 or 5 plus say in this particular kind of question, right? That is what say absolutely an advantage as such. Now with this demand, now as simple demand is quite clear. Explain the speleothem with its various structures and features. Introduction, how you are going to introduce, you are just going to introduce like say the definition, hardly 30 words, not more than it, right? 30 words even it is enough. Over there draw this diagram, right? अब आपको पता हो तो that will be good. So that is what a KO pillar, okay? Like say stalactite, stalagmite, KO pillar, you will find flow stone over there, right? And mention few names so also, so that examiner will get to know, yes, this guy is having a basic understanding about this fact, right? Then explain about karst topography, how it formed due to like say depositional action of water on calcium carbonate topography, this thing, and then main body we should explain it in short. अब main body में हम सब कुछ चीज नहीं लिखेंगे, right? Say name those features and only explain 1 2 or 3 the way you are comfortable with, the time allows you, right? So अब ये question first है तो I would prefer to write 3 at least, क्योंकि very first question है, right? तो इसमें you will find say impression that will be carried for the next part, and that's why say I will be writing 3 over here, and in the conclusion I will write the names of rest, right. So ho gaya question like define formation features. So you are supposed to write this formation feature 1 2 line 1 2 line 1 2 line, done. Okay, that is how you are supposed to answer the very first question say of examination, right. Then second question is like say high altitude environmental hazards. Quite simple question. First part it is what, in the second explain with example, ठीक है. First एक ही part है and the demand is quite clear. Explain with examples the high altitude environmental hazard. High altitude means कि जो high height पे ऑब्जर्व होते हैं, राइट. दोज आर हाई एल्टीट्यूड एनवायरमेंटल hazards. So as simple introduction, start with the basic environmental hazards in high altitude and say with their causative factor, क्योंकि आपको next half में फिर causative factor लिखने के लिए scope नहीं रहेगा, right. So do explain it, or you can also start with any current example if you are having with, so you can add it over there, right guys. You can add that example, okay, or that perspective over into it. Now over here, huh? It is environmental hazard also. Yes, it leads to avalanche, it leads to all those phenomena. That's why it's an environmental hazard. So main body explain this thing specifically with respect to mass movement and hazard. ठीक है, ये क्या होता है? So in our class we will be discussing those things, right? So you will be getting idea. Now the thing is, देखो mass movement लिखना है यहाँ पे, avalanche, rock creep, mud flow, then cloud burst वाला phenomena environmental hazard है, right? चमोली वाला cloud burst है, या से केदारनाथ cloud burst है, you can say right over. Chamoli is basically say that way is what, this way. Glacier lake outburst lake, okay, glacier lake outburst lake, GLOF, and over here you can write Chamoli, Uttarakhand. So you can write this way, avalanche also, and any other features, say those are quite common, okay, in current affairs as such. So into it you can add a humanistic angle also, frostbite, right? Frostbite, क्योंकि low temperature conditions में रहने से कुछ human bodies पे या animals पे you will find some diseases also, frostbite. Now do remember this thing guys, over here you can add a deterministic approach also. Now you will ask me, sir, determinism is section B topic, human geography, and why to add it into the paper 1? But that's not the case, man. The thing is, the more you able to integrate physical geography with human geography, geomorphology with climatology, climatology with oceanography, paper 1 with paper 2, believe me, you will get more marks. So over here you need to add that geographical perspective into it. देखो, otherwise this question will be like say of GS also, explain high altitude environmental hazard. UPSC may ask in GS3 also, cloud burst तो पूछा ही है GS3 में इस साल, right? So this question can be of that nature also GS, but to make it geographical, add this perspective into it. That will make your answer more geographical, ठीक है? And conclude it like say that way. Then this current affair pollution dome, as it well known, pollution dome. So that dome shaped structure which you find the say formed due to different pollutants in the atmosphere, right? And this typical phenomena is of urban and suburban region. क्यों? क्योंकि urban and suburban region, this region areas are more exposed to or leading to pollution activities, and that is the reason you will find it is having high pollution. And ultimately you might have heard about heat island effect also. So urban region is heat island effect prone, and that's the thing you need to write about. Discuss its formation and its impact. as simple. तो देखो इसमें भी 3 पार्ट्स है, फर्स्ट पोल्यूशन डोम, देन फॉर्मेशन, देन इम्पैक्ट, 3 पार्ट है. राइट 3 पॉइंट्स, डन, यू विल बी गेटिंग मोर देन एवरेज मार्क्स. ठीक है, फर्स्ट पार्ट, सेकेंड पार्ट एंड थर्ड पार्ट, डन. ठीक है, तो इंट्रोडक्शन, व्हाट यू विल बी राइटिंग, डिफाइन द पोल्यूशन डोम फर्स्ट. इवन say the one who is not aware about this concept can absolutely write it. मीनिंग से ही पता चल रहा है, डोम मीन्स a dome shape रहेगा and formed by pollutants, right? So you can write, you have to draw a diagram, and where you will find it is in urban region. Write it as like the urban, suburban region, sometimes in rural areas also. ठीक है, so urban, suburban region, and in rural areas also you will find this phenomena. So in main body explain the mechanism. ठीक है, explain its mechanism कि formation कैसे हुआ. Now the formation is absolutely, it is connected with the weather and climatic conditions of region. Weather and climatic condition, like say you can connect it with the inversion of temperature, you can connect it with the phenomenon of the lapse rate, okay, over there, or say even in a valley region also you can connect it with the thing, right? So impacts क्या है, बहुत सारे impact है. It leads to changes of weather, yeah, pollution है तो just like say the best example you can connect it with the Delhi also, okay. So weather changes, insolation, heat, okay, then health hazards, and on plants and animal, because wherever you will find the intensity of pollution PM 2.5, okay, and PM 10, you will find it is PM 10, right? इस पे पेपर 2 में क्वेश्चन पूछा है पर्टिकुलेट मैटर रिलेटेड. ठीक है, सो दिस थिंग्स आर मोर हैजार्डस फॉर ह्यूमन एज वेल एज प्लांट एग्जिस्टेंस. एंड यस, यू कैन कनेक्ट इट विद द वेदर, क्लाइमेट इम्पैक्ट, एंड दिस वे. ओके, सो conclude it the way how to avoid, say, the development of pollution dome, because that development of pollution dome is really harmful for plant and animal existence. Next then, and the most commonly asked question by UPSC, it's about coral reef. Almost every year you find question say on coral reefs, almost, right? Every year कहीं ना कहीं कुछ से 10 marker 15 marker question you will find in the examination, and UPSC has continued this way. That's why I told you कि कुछ repeated themes है, there are question on it for sure. And you say as an aspirant you need to identify, pick up those repetitive themes and then prepared it so well, like say bottom topography of ocean. So that kind of question you will find in the examination. So like say when corals are affected by stress, it causes them to turn completely white. Explain the reasons of such an occurrence. Explain the reasons of such an occurrence. So this phenomena, if say in our usual geography lecture we discuss this in in an interesting way, right? It's just the way like coral bleaching is what? Decolorization. Bleaching, it means what? Decolorization of coral, and decolorization it is like a white in color, right? So this white color formation is to be known as coral bleaching, right? Coral bleaching. And this question is again towards the same, when corals are get stressed they turn white. That is what say. So UPSC haven't asked you, or just like say like straight question over here, instead it say in quite a say rap term, right? Turned white. But same UPSC is asking you about coral bleaching. So demand of the question is to explain the reasons for coral bleaching, explain the reasons for such an occurrence. तो बहुत easy है. Everyone, I believe कि in our lecture, the one who is preparing with the geography optional, right, and he did it, so he aware about say all those problems or reasons as such. So start with the symbiotic associations of coral and zooxanthellae, because this will help you to address in the next part. क्योंकि देखो आंसर राइटिंग इज एन आर्ट, इट इज एन स्किल. ठीक है, इट इज अ स्किल. you should know which part should be written, say at the first, then second, then third, and how this part will help you for the second part and then to the third. The more you understand it, the more you can do it in the examination, and evaluator will recognize this thing. Okay? So explain symbiotic associations of coral and zooxanthellae, because the expelled of zooxanthellae, ठीक है, it then lead to white color, क्योंकि कोरल का जो कलर होता है ना, right, corals are color species and the reason is zooxanthellae, right, तो इसका reason है zooxanthellae. And the thing is, when zooxanthellae moves out of the body of coral, it turned white, that is what shown over here in the diagram also. पहले zooxanthellae थी देखो, this one dots algal species है, then it moves out, it expelled out, and you will find it is turned into say white. Now this phenomena doesn't stop say, and when it turns white, it also continues, because now this one is more prone to diseases and then it leads to the death of the coral. So that phenomena is to be known as coral bleaching. And there is one very famous commission that was established in 1987, Clive Wilkinson Commission. ठीक है, global coral reef monitoring network, right, commission, that was to be named as, and it has submitted the reasons for say the coral reefs as such. Now you can write say with the mention of this report. So what you can write the causes, natural causes and artificial causes. ठीक है, natural and anthropogenic, artificial, tectonic instability, जिससे कोरल की जो लोकेशन है, प्लेटफॉर्म है, इट इज गेटिंग डिस्टर्ब फॉर, राइट, देन पोल्यूशन, देन अर्थक्वेक और वोल्केनो, एंड डिजास्टर्स, राइट, डिजास्टर्स to corals, right? So diseases to coral, sorry, disaster and diseases to coral also, disaster वाला भी point आएगा. So these are what the reason why there is a bleaching. इससे क्या होगा, symbiotic association of zooxanthellae and coral, it break, okay, it broken, and then it lead to movement of coral outside. And anthropogenic, these are the most dominant cause as such, where okay, where you will find this anthropogenic cause, right, like say marine fishing, urbanization, industrialization, tourism, okay, and these activities, they are most responsible factor, okay, they are intensifying. And this factor, plastic pollution, you know, World Economic Forum, there is a report, and according to it, there will be more plastic in the ocean than fish by 2050 if we are going to pollute, say, the plastic pollution, say, on the land as well as in the ocean. And that is the reason, say, it leads to this coral bleaching also, right guys? Okay, so in conclusion, what you need to do, you have to write about bio rock technology, newly developed technology, where say a artificial platform is provided to coral. Coral is now getting developed over on this thing, okay, artificially. You can again say suggest for means to control coastal encroachment, tourism, sustainable tourism, and fishing, sustainable fishing activities also. These are what, say, those points to be considered. Then the last one of say mandatory questions, last one of the mandatory question, well developed soil typically exhibit distinct layers in their profile, and the demand is as simple, show how this mature soil, right, well developed means mature soil, right, how mature soils are having a distinct layer. So you know guys the layers of the soil. Let me know in the comment box, hello DK, yes. Yes, what happened? Am I audible? Okay, okay. So Shubham, yes, yes, okay, chalo theek hai. So DK is having some problem with, I don't know why. DK is just having some problem, whether he is getting it or not. Chalo theek hai. So soil layer, you know, it is what of different horizons. It is of different horizons. Organic, sorry, O layer, then A layer, B layer, C layer and R layer, right? Different layers we will be discussing also in our lecture, right? And these layers are, say, the defining factor whether soil is mature or not, right? Whether soil is mature or immature soil. Now, this maturity and immaturity or simply the development of layer is depend on number of factors. It depends on number of factors, say climate, yeah, the type of climate, it defines the development of layer of the soil, then parent rock material, this one C, then time, say it undergone, right, that soil formation and living matter like say for example humus. Okay, so right, so this thing is what soil development is depend on, say the layer of soil maturity of the soil, and you have to write then examples over here also, like say you can take black soil also, right, you can take the soil which has developed profile, zonal soil, you know that categorization by Dokachev, right, that classification includes zonal soil, intrazonal soil and azonal soil, right. So this zonal soil you can say explain by means of examples, Chernozem, black soil or red soil, and write it over there. You can draw the world map also, right, where these soils are being developed, and accordingly simultaneously guys what you can do, you can also write about immature soils also, and the best example is azonal soil, which is alluvial one, which is a alluvial soil. So you can write it this example so that your argument will get more stronger. Okay, it will get more stronger. And in conclusion, yes, just like say you can say conclude it accordingly, supporting the statement. Yes, the development of soil, it is say reflected in its layers, soil layers, okay, organic layers as such. So this is what the mandatory question 1, and you have to attempt it, say even if say you are not fully aware about those terms, ठीक है, attempt तो करना ही है just because ये compulsory question होता है, and now you are having option to say choose any one or two say from this section, ठीक है. So question 2, it's about land use and land cover pattern. Land use and land cover, you know simply that the nature, say how land is under utilization, that is what a land use, and if it is undergoing a steep change, right, उसमें change हो रहा है, right, that land is say from agriculture, say urbanization के लिए use हुआ है plotting activities, और say forested vegetative land थी, forest land थी, now transform into a industrial region. So that is what a land use change phenomena. Define this in the very first manner, right, in the very first thing what you can do, you can define it in the introduction. It's better to have some data over here also. अगर कुछ data हो आपके पास में तो it would make your answer more say impressive, right. So this question you can say answer with the help of NCERT also, ठीक है, some part of NCERT, क्योंकि NCERT in say you will find in 11th and 12th, right, both this part you will find some graphs and information about land use change. So in introduction you need to write or explain about this thing, then in main body आप क्या करोगे, impact of land use change, say and ecological imbalance, how it is leading to this kind of thing, right? How it is leading to ecological imbalance. Then से देखो लैंड यूज चेंज, अगर डिफॉरेस्टेशन होगा तो इकोलॉजिकल इम्बैलेंस भी होगा. देन एग्री प्रैक्टिसेस, कुछ फॉल्टी एग्री प्रैक्टिसेस है, फिर से इकोलॉजिकल इम्बैलेंस होगा, राइट. देन इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन, अर्बनाइजेशन, ट्रांसपोर्टेशन, चेंजिंग टोपोग्राफी, हैबिटेट फ्रैगमेंटेशन, all these activities lead to a ecological imbalance, right? तो यही तो points लिखने हैं वहां पे, provided say some with some fact also, some case studies also, ठीक है. Keep arguments and points diverse as possible. तो जितने ज्यादा रखोगे diverse, it will say easy for evaluator to give you more marks. And in the conclusion, just suggest a way forward, right? कि लैंड यूज कवर कैसे कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं, चेंज जो इकोलॉजिकल इम्बैलेंस हो रहा है. तो एफॉरेस्टेशन एक्टिविटी, लैंड पूलिंग वाली जो केस है, या से यू कैन कनेक्ट इट से विद द अदर डेवलपमेंट से विद रिस्पेक्ट टू इट आल्सो. ओके, अगेन यू कैन मेंशन सम इंटरनेशनल इनिशिएटिव्स फॉर दैट मैटर. देन नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, इट्स अबाउट चैनल मॉर्फोलॉजी एंड दिस इज ऑफ जियोमॉर्फोलॉजी. ठीक है, जियोमॉर्फोलॉजी चैनल मॉर्फोलॉजी वाला पॉइंट है. एंड यस कि देखो क्वेश्चन इज सिंपली आस्किंग द नॉलेज ऑफ, ओके, हाउ यू आर गोइंग टू यूज द नॉलेज ऑफ चैनल मॉर्फोलॉजी. ओके, चैनल मॉर्फोलॉजी से फॉर ट्रांसपोर्टेशन प्लानिंग, फ्लड मैनेजमेंट एंड सेटलमेंट्स, development of settlements. Question is as simple. Explain how various aspects of channel morphology are used in transportation, settlements, land use planning, flood control and flood management. Simple. तो 3 areas पूछे हैं आपको which you have to answer for based on channel morphology and its understanding. तो channel morphology it means it is what related with the river and stream. तो अलग अलग फिनोमेनास रहेंगे एंड हाउ से यू नीड टू आंसर से बेस्ड ऑन इंट्रोडक्शन राइट अबाउट चैनल मॉर्फोलॉजी. कुछ की टर्म्स मेंशन करना है जो आपको नेक्स्ट पार्ट में एड्रेस करने होंगे, राइट. देन व्हाट यू कैन डू दिस वे, चैनल मॉर्फोलॉजी हाउ इट हेल्पफुल फॉर ट्रांसपोर्टेशन. यू आर गोइंग टू कंस्ट्रक्ट टनल, रिवर टनल, टनल्स ऑन रिवर और ब्रिज ऑन रिवर, राइट. तो उस केस में भी चैनल मॉर्फोलॉजी नॉलेज विल हेल्प यू. इन एडिशन डैम कंस्ट्रक्शन, इन एडिशन फ्लड मैनेजमेंट, ट्रेड एंड नेविगेशन, इनलैंड नेविगेशन. हाउ इट विल हेल्प यू फॉर अर्बन सेटलमेंट और सेटलमेंट डेवलपमेंट. या चैनल मॉर्फोलॉजी विल हेल्प यू से टू मैनेज पॉपुलेशन डेंसिटी, द एरिया, वाटर रिसोर्स मैनेजमेंट एंड दोज थिंग्स. And it will help you for flood management, by the way, like flood, channel diversion, channel blocking, okay, or channel embankment, channel desiltation. इससे क्या रहेगा, you will find say flood management activity. That ultimately what question is asking for? Question is asking for how the knowledge of channel morphology will help you to say plan these things, transportation, settlements and flood. And yes, say when you will go through this point you will find yes it is say easy to deal with, absolutely easy to deal with this point. And yeah, in the last, in conclusion, you need to write it as like say the solution further. Then what is the, this is the one of the most repetitive theme of UPSC in 2019, 18-19 and even say before, you will find the same question was repeated like say or that kind of nature, right. What is the relationship between ocean currents and global surface winds? You know, देखो ocean current is one of the favorite topic of UPSC. The question also asked in GS 122 mains, right? GS 1 2022 mains, and the question is again in the optional also, that the wind and ocean current they share an intimate relationship. That कि जैसा wind flow करेगा accordingly ocean currents का nature भी defined होगा, and that is what exactly this question is trying to ask for. It is what having two parts, parts 1 and part 2. So what is the relationship between ocean currents and global surface wind? Explain with example how does the gyre in the north hemisphere is different from the one in the south hemisphere. तो दो क्वेश्चंस हैं, राइट. Here you need to know about ocean currents and wind and second gyres in Atlantic, right. तो क्या है फिर, as simple introduction, define the ocean current. You have to draw this world map. I told you guys that world map, right, you have to be comfortable in drawing world map, and this kind of map, ocean currents वाला हो गया या winds वाला हो गया, global circulation, you have to say keep everything in mind, right. So that would be less time taking for you. So write it here, the definition of ocean current, few examples of it, like Labrador current है, Gulf Stream है, और Agulhas current है, Bagula current है. You can write it over there and then show how this ocean current is having critical relationship with the wind. This map is just for that sake, right guys. ये वाला जो map है, have a look over that. The movement of this wind in this direction, it leads to say the movement of ocean current accordingly, right. This wind is moving in this way, you will find that north equatorial current is also moving over here. The best interplay of wind and current you will find in North Indian Ocean. North Indian Ocean you will find in the बेस्ट इंटरप्ले इन द सेंस कि जैसे विंड मूव करेगा वैसा ओशन करंट भी मूव करेगा, उसका नेचर, उसकी प्रॉपर्टीज. एंड यस यू हैव टू राइट इट ओवर हियर द सेम वे, राइट. सो इन मेन बॉडी राइट दिस थिंग, एंड इन द सेकेंड पार्ट यू नीड टू एड्रेस gyre. Now what are these gyres? Gyres are simply made up of oceanic circulations which are composed of different current and they are cyclical in nature, right guys. So there are 5 different gyres in the oceanic surface or on the earth surface, and you need to compare North Atlantic gyre and South Atlantic gyre. तो difference मतलब क्या है, direction में difference होगा, nature में cold and warm, their landform development, you can find the result into climate, what kind of climate or the movement that gyre leads to, you can say connect it with the North and South Atlantic. Right, over here we cannot discuss all those points for sure, right, but yeah, you can say go through these things also, right, the difference between this way. Next, question 3, it is based on Darwin's law. That is based on Darwin's law, the survival of the fittest, and the one who is able to adapt is able to survive. Yeah, we know those Darwin's law. So the question is, plants and animals that exist in particular ecosystem are those that have been successful in adjusting to their habitat and environmental condition. As simple, right? So those who are able to manage with their environment, simply adaptation. Are you getting guys this thing, all of you, that this question is trying for an adaptation, right? Adaptation phenomena, say observed in the plants and animal. Can you let me know some examples guys of adaptation? Diagram is already there, right? यहाँ पे diagram already add की है मैंने just for the sake. Yes, this species are more adaptive to their conditions. Even human being also, right? Say for in Delhi, right? देखो दिल्ली में हम तो adaptive ही तो हो रहा है, right? Delhi है या any other locations also, we are now adaptive to pollution. We are now adaptive to say those human-made consequences also. Same in the way nature-made consequences पे भी तो adaptations होगा. And you will find the best example as this xerophatic plants. Now देखो यहाँ पे question is so specific about plants and animals. Is it? The question is so specific about plant and animals. So guys, do you have any adaptation with animals? Can you let me know? Comment in the comment box. कौन से adaptations होते हैं animals में? देखो plants में तो adaptations मैं बता रहा हूँ that xerophatic it means that they are having developments of thorns. Yeah, to minimize their surface area, or the stem is stronger, or the root is deep enough so that it can fetch more water, right? Or even in the plants you will find their size is somehow less, they are light in color, क्योंकि देखो अगर कलर डार्क होगा तो सनलाइट का एब्जॉर्प्शन ज्यादा होगा, एब्जॉर्प्शन ज्यादा होगा तो वाटर लॉस ज्यादा रहेगा, एंड दैट्स व्हाई से दिस काइंड ऑफ phenomena, right? You will find this thing also in the boreal forest. Have you observed Xmas tree? Xmas tree देखो 25th of December, right? Christmas में use होता है. So that tree is a boreal type of climate. You need to connect over tree and plants, okay, or animals with say type of climate also. So this Xmas tree you will find it is a development, it is a adaptation. How? Because you will find it in a snow covered region or where in low temperature region, वहां पर snowfall ज़्यादा होता है. अब snowfall अगर plain surface पे होगा, it will retain on the leaves and it will lead to disease. Now this typical shape of the boreal or Xmas tree you will find it leads to movement of snow down the slope, and yes, it is a adaptation further. You can say quote many examples, you know it well, right? You all know it. Equatorial forest ले सकते हो, deciduous forest, every you can say write it about how plants and animals they adapt. Over here you can write those extinct species also, कि जो species extinct है ना, you can say write it with them also. Yes, Shubham, right? Camels in desert. Okay. Yes, camels in desert you will find the example of animal. Yes, they go adapt. Camel is known as sheep of the desert. Why? It just because it can walk on the desert so fast. It can even adapt to itself in a dry climatic conditions. Okay, in stomach it can store water in its body, right? Or his skin is say somehow that can say move out this wind or sand which is say blowing by the wind, right? This is adaptation. Or salamander is again adaptation. Polar bear is again adaptation, or say pangolin, right? This is what a pangolin. COVID अभी face किया था guys हमने. So COVID is what it's supposed to be originated say or transferred by this pangolin. Pangolin से transferred हुआ था say from. And what is the speciality of the pangolin? It is the only scaly mammal. देखो mammal है वो, but it is only scaly mammal. So are you getting this thing? Adaptation ही तो है. That it is somehow it is lying somewhere, okay, where you will find a regular threat to his life, and that's how he is able to survive. यही तो लिखना है, right? So connect it with the determinism, connect it with the neo-determinism or stop and go determinism, and your answer will be more geographical in nature. Right, Shubham? Yes, fishes and other water species. Yeah, you can absolutely write it. They are adaptive to more saline condition. Black Sea में भी तो life रह रही है, right? Or even you will find in the Mediterranean Sea having high salinity. So how this life survives? Yeah, Shubham, absolutely good. You can add that dimension also, right? And write one or two examples of extinction. So this is about this thing. Mention Darwin's law, because Darwin's law is having many influences in geography. क्योंकि डार्विन्स लॉ जब इवॉल्व हुआ था या जब प्रपोज हुआ था, यू विल फाइंड मेनी चेंजेस इन ज्योग्राफी दैट इट लेड टू. दैट मे बी अ पॉसिबल क्वेश्चन इन द नेक्स्ट ईयर ऑल्सो. राइट, यस शुभम, पंकर लैंग, यस, थैंक यू. सो नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज अबाउट एयर मासेस. ठीक है, इम्पैक्ट ऑफ एयर मासेस. यू नो एयर मासेस, देयर इम्पैक्ट एंड देयर मूवमेंट, राइट? एंड से with suitable examples describe the impacts of movement of air masses on weather and winds, right? Weather and winds in different parts of the continents, so as simple, देखो air mass, you know guys, air mass, can anyone let me know the definition of air mass? पता है air mass, climatology में पढ़ा है हमने air mass. So define the air mass at first. Then in main body write about how it moves with some examples, right? Example and impacts, right? It leads to intensification of winds, monsoon, precipitation, disasters also, changes weather, changes in climate, right? So that is what impact on wind. Yes, anyone with the definition of air mass. And impact on weather, yes, temperature, pressure, humidity, you will find changes. Then precipitation, frontal formation, yes, mention polar front theory, again a geographical perspective. Though air mass is a typical geographical question, but yes, आपको फिर polar frontal theory of jerkins, right? You need to write it over there. Then this one, precipitation, cyclonic occurrence and inversion of temperature. You will find this phenomena as, yes, so this phenomena are having their impact by movement of air masses. इंडिया वाला एग्जाम्पल डाल दो यहाँ पे मॉनसून. और अब नेक्स्ट इन विंटर, राइट, वी आर गोइंग टू फेस द नेक्स्ट साइबेरियन कोल्ड एयर मास. साइबेरियन कोल्ड एयर मास अब हम फेस करने वाले हैं से इन दी winter season. So you can write this example also. Western disturbance, it is also a air mass, right guys? So you need to write this kind of examples and their significance also in conclusion. Next, discuss the role of slope, altitude and relief in the landscape development. Discuss the role of slope, altitude. Yes Prashant, right, mass of air having same pressure and temperature. ठीक है, it is a mass of air having uniform properties. That property include temperature, humidity, moisture. हाँ, moisture and lapse rate, right? ये कुछ प्रॉपर्टीज है जो कांस्टेंट रहेगी इन दैट होल एक्सटेंडेड एयर मास, मे बी एक्सटेंडेड फॉर हंड्रेड्स एंड थाउजेंड्स ऑफ किलोमीटर. ठीक है, तो ये एयर मास. नाउ दिस क्वेश्चन इज ऑफ जियोमॉर्फोलॉजी, स्लोप डेवलपमेंट टॉपिक. एंड इफ आई वुड बी देयर, राइट, सो मैंने अटेम्प्ट नहीं किया होता ये क्वेश्चन. इट जस्ट बिकॉज समहाउ इजी है, नो डाउट, बट वॉट द थिंग इज यू नीड सम एडिशनल नॉलेज अबाउट इट. बट चलो ठीक है, शो द रोल ऑफ slope, altitude and relief in the landscape development. So how it leads to, start introduction, start with the evolution of landscape. ठीक, then explain how SAR modifies. So slope, it lead to topographical changes. You will find the erosional and depositional processes that is led by. You will find some disasters, those are also led by. So ultimately development, or you can write also vegetation. You can write nature of wind is also modified, which ultimately leads to change in the landscape, right guys? ये भी लिख पाएंगे. Then relief and altitude. Relief and altitude, it simply means like say height, right? Height, how it leads to. So nature and evolution of channel, river कहाँ से move कर रही है, right? This way. So it is again leading to change in topography or say landscape. Stages of erosional landform and environmental hazards, you can write it over there. And this is what say about conclusion, mention other factors if they are responsible. Over here you need to write about Darwin's theory, okay, slope development theory, Penk's model of slope development, right, and King's model also. So you can say mention this three, necessary है to get say enough marks. Then the last question in the section A, it is rise of surface temperature brings severe consequences. ये तो वेल नोन क्वेश्चन है यार, ये तो हम तो बहुत बार पढ़ते हैं, न्यूज़पेपर में आया भी रहेगा, राइट? सो rise of temperature, rise in temperature leads to severe consequences. Elaborate the potential changes and threats associated. देखो कितना स्ट्रेट क्वेश्चन है, इतना इजी क्वेश्चन है and absolutely easy to attempt for. So write it like say how it lead to rise in temperature, write about global warming, write about greenhouse gases. Yes, climate change, you will find floods, you will find encroachment of land, you will find the man nature imbalance, okay, relationship में imbalance है, diseases, right, rise in temperature, it leads to more diseases, lead to agricultural say less productivity, okay, and you can say migration, yes, it lead to migration. Connect it, say the way you can, right? Multi-dimensional answer is the requirement of UPSC. So connect it with the plant and animal life also, how rise in temperature has severe consequences over there. Connected with the migration, connected with the society also, connected with the terrorism. You know guys, terrorism in Lake Victoria, right? Lake Victoria कहाँ है? Let me know in the comment box guys, कहाँ है? अफ्रीका, ठीक है, चलो अफ्रीका है, एंड ओवर देयर इट ड्यू टू राइज इन टेम्परेचर इट हैज श्रिंक्ड इन एरिया, एंड due to shrinking in area you will find less agriculture productivity, loss of employment, and now Boko Haram, right, the terrorist organization finds a very suitable fertile ground to recruit their terrorists, and that's the case. See कि rise in temperature is having multi-dimensional impact. Do have case study and try to make your answer more multi-dimensional in nature, right? You can say connect it with the way you want further, and in the way conclusion write the solution. Yes, solution तो लिखने ही पड़ेंगे to make your answer say yes more impressive. Now next है देखो, next is describe how short term variations in temperature are related to the process of receiving energy from the sun to the earth surface and dissipating it to the atmosphere. अब इतना लेंदी क्वेश्चन है, ओके, एंड द क्वेश्चन इज सिंपली आस्किंग यू फॉर से टेल मी व्हाट आर दोज डिफरेंट फिनोमेना हैपन इन शॉर्ट ड्यूरेशन ऑफ टाइम. शॉर्ट टाइम ड्यूरेशन में क्लाइमेटोलॉजिकल वेदर कौन से फिनोमेना होते हैं, ओनली राइट इट ओवर देयर. Simply the question is say asking you for. So over here you can write say the phenomena of this inversion of temperature, right, climatology, right, in our lecture this will be discussed for sure. Inversion of temperature ये वाला phenomena रहेगा, second वाला lapse वाला particle, and at the end you need to write about, or yes, local winds guys, local winds, sea breeze, land breeze, sea breezes or land breezes. This way short term ही तो phenomena है, 1 or 2 days की तो phenomena ये आओ, right? So this way, and at the last write it about heat budgeting. Then this is what this question is asking for. Okay, I know this question by its say very nature it's difficult to understand at the first instant, but say if you read it again you can get that meaning. Okay, question is asking for short term weather, climatic or meteorological phenomena on the earth surface. You can connect with the ocean also this way. ठीक है guys. Then with suitable example and sketches describe the mountain genesis and mountain types. अब ये क्वेश्चन बनता है theoretical question, right? Theoretical. It just because now it is having two parts. The first mountain genesis and the second one is mountain types. Mountain genesis और mountain types में आपको explain करना है. So two part है critically given as simple, right? So in the introduction write about say explaining the mountain, their process, okay, and if you are having some say in detail understanding or you want to write something about, right? That mountains, their nature, or say any physical or that kind of significance of it, and then in the main body write about the process of formation process. और जब formation process लिखोगे you have to mention this Kobert's theory of mountain formation, plate tectonic theory of mountain formation, continental drift theory, and then yes, fold and fault mechanism of mountain formation. These things you need to keep into your mind and in answer also. क्योंकि देखो mountain formation it remains incomplete if you are not going to explain this. या radioactive theory of Joly you can write it over there. कहीं ना कहीं आपको रेफरेंस देना होगा, तब आपका आंसर जो रहेगा it looks like a say geographical way, though it is geographical but yes typical optional you need to mention over there. So fold chain of mountain, say block chain of mountain, volcanic mountain, you need to explain it accordingly. Keep examples in your pocket always, right? तो फिर आप examples भी लिख पाओगे. Types of mountain you know, volcanic mountain, fold flock mountain, fold mountain and relict mountain. Best example is Aravallis, right guys? Aravallis, right? Aravalli, can you let me know where Aravalli is, the states? नॉट इन इंडिया, ठीक है, इतना प्लेन क्वेश्चन तो नहीं रहेगा फॉर श्योर. सो वेयर अरावली इज द स्टेट्स, इन विच स्टेट द प्रेजेंस ऑफ अरावली यू विल फाइंड, राइट. तो यहाँ पे फिर लेट मी नो इन द कमेंट बॉक्स, explain the types, okay, and then conclude with the significance of this formation. You can say accordingly write it. Simple question है this particular one, mountain type formation. देखो even fourth question is as simple. सिर्फ सेकेंड वाला जो पार्ट था शॉर्ट टर्म टेम्परेचर चेंजेस, तो वो इट सीम्स लाइक समहाउ चेंज पार्ट, राइट. इट डिफिकल्ट टू रीड और अंडरस्टैंड क्वेश्चन इन दी फर्स्ट रीडिंग इटसेल्फ. अगर आप कर पाए सो यू विल फाइंड इट इज इजी टू अटेम्प्ट काइंड. Next, section B, and really important, right? Really important and interesting also, because this section it belongs to human geography, and as I told you, human geography is quite easy to attempt for. देखो पेपर सेक्शन 1 में ना say you can attempt 2 questions, right? Usually people do, they attempt 2 questions from the paper 1, and in section B they attempt 3 questions. तो 5 questions का जो combination है it say happens like this, okay. Now over here analyze the impact of globalization on languages. Now guys देखो ये question तो GS3 में भी बनता है, yes, और even society you can connect it with GS1, but the thing is as it is asked in optional, you are not supposed to write in a GS way. You have to write it, you have to be more specific, say for optional perspective. तो देखो demand is clearly given, say effects of globalization on languages. So introduction, write about globalization or any fact if you are having with you, write say fact of UNESCO. Always guys do remember कि आप जब भी कोई fact और data लिख रहे हो ना, तो in that case you will be writing or mentioning source also, ठीक है, source UNESCO, United Nation, World Economic Forum or anything as such, right. So that will give an edge in say your answer also, okay, and authentication also. Prashant, yes, Aravalli it is in Rajasthan, but it is not only in Rajasthan. Prashant, you will find Aravalli started from Gujarat, ठीक है, then it enters into Rajasthan, then in Haryana, and then in Delhi, right. So Aravalli is having extend in 4 states. UPSC में इस पे भी क्वेश्चन पूछा है, like say Himalaya spread only in the 5 states, Western Ghats spread only in the 5 states, and Pulicat Lake spread only in the 2 states. So you need to have this understanding also कि कहाँ पर say those kind of topography is having their presence, ठीक है. Rajasthan, yes, major extent is in Rajasthan, but Gujarat, Haryana and Delhi also having its presence. Then now on this question, effect of globalization on language. Now दो एंगल में लिखना है गाइस, ठीक है, 2 वेज में लिखना है, पॉजिटिव एंड नेगेटिव. Now positive what? Have a look over. Now this globalization, it has promoted the spread of language, yes, English or even Hindi, you will find it is now getting more spread, awareness about the language, cultural sensitivity, yes. Then means of protection, there are some technological means of protection of language also, कि कोई language अगर extinct होनी है, so you can say have it say record in say technological means also, तो वो भी रहेगा. Then it also promoted regional integration, but on the other side it also lead to some problems where the feeling of superiority and inferiority, language English, right, English, the one who knows say the English well or who can say speak well, so he is basically in comparison superior to other. That is what a common perception as such. Then mono language as such, globalization has promoted a monoculture of language English. Then it divides a mean, it is a mean of divide. That means have a look over for India, you can divide India into different countries, and ultimately the result is state demand for state, number of states, right. Telangana is what that kind of or state reorganization in 1954 of India, you can say connected with the thing. Then extinction of many languages, almost say in 1 year world loses almost 14 languages. That is what the data of United Nations, UNESCO. So you can write this kind of data also. देखो positive भी लिखे हमने and negative भी, right? So while writing an answer, you need to be you need to be say more diverse, right? आपको दोनों भी side लिखना है, positives and negative. Okay, it is not the case that globalization is having only negative impact. It do have many positive impacts also. Then yes, this is what frame on one article, right? I think Indian Express or Hindu possibly, means UPSC may have different source also, but yes, how the shifting trade pattern creates a new opportunities. And you know possibilism. Possibilism is like say there are no necessities but everywhere opportunities, and the man as the judge of this opportunity has his right to explore them, and that is what say shifting trade pattern. Guys देखो now with the new industrialization 4.0, 4.0, right, or automation or digitization, or the way you will find now the trade pattern has modified, and which way you need to it is modified right in the introduction itself. तो आप next part में फिर answer कर पाओगे what kind of impact or opportunity it is offering to us. See, global trade pattern has shifted, don't you think, from primary to tertiary secondary industry? पहले जो हुआ करता था वो agriculture में था mainly, now it is getting say changed. Again mass good and consumerism approach. AC, refrigerator, vehicles, cars, what are these? These are all mass goods and consumerism way, right? Pattern change हो गया from that way. Then earlier it was mainly by road. Now 90% of world trade is by maritime route. Is it changing? Yes, it is changing. New trade pattern, it is changing. Then earlier mainly two countries were engaged, now multilateral. Example, European Union, ASEAN. These are the example, or NAFTA. You can say mention those. You will find this kind of grouping has now it changed global pattern. Restriction on free trade, technological changes. Yes, technological transportation means change हो गया. And then earlier it was between developed and developed world, north and north. Now you will find with the rise of China, India and BRICS countries, now it is mainly developed to developing, and now possibly shifting towards south or developing countries, right? देखो ये change हो गया. In introduction you have to write, I am telling you guys, you have to be multi-dimensional. जितना ज़्यादा diverse argument दोगे, you will find it is more mark fetching in your answer. ठीक है? So this changing pattern now, how it offers you an opportunity. Have a look over. देखो, it gives you a new resource base also, right? It gives you new employment opportunity, new skilled opportunities also. It will help you for regional development. Yes, urban rural change जो pattern हुआ है या migration pattern change हुआ है, you will find it is helping you say to maintain regional parity also. Okay, then regional integration and global power balance. Or earlier it was a developed case, US and EU, yeah, European Union. Now the world is getting more diversified and it has given us opportunity. So mention over here heartland theory, rimland theory of Spikeman for global power balance. You can absolutely write it. Make this answer more geographical in nature. You can draw world map to make your answer further more impressive. Okay? So this is about how changing global pattern offers us a new opportunity, right? You can say keep it more diverse. Guys, are you getting this thing? How to make your answer say multidimensional in nature? Because UPSC wants from candidate the same thing. Just do follow toppers copies. You will find that their answer is more multidimensional, okay, or it is multidimensional in the way. Say next, examine how the morphological factors that influence the origin and growth of town. Now morphological means what? देखो जो medicals अगर किसी का background है, so he is quite aware about. Morphological it means internal features, right? External features and internal features. So morphology, like say for example, if this is what a city, so the kind of road patterns, the housing patterns, say the development and habitation zone, right, in city, it is what a morphological factors, and how it influences the origin and growth of towns. That is what the question, and this question is really helpful say for the one who is urban planner, because urban planning is a difficult task guys, right? So urban planner, urban geographer, he should have this understanding how to say manage those say based on this morphological features. Okay, या कोई भी नई city अगर establish हो रही है, you will find this thing as important. Now introduction, you need to write about say morphological features, right? Write it as, right? Then explain those significant factors over there. You need to write this models, क्योंकि how to make this answer geographical by means of mentioning those theories. Concentric zone model of Burgess, ठीक है? Then sectoral model, and then say multi-nuclei model. Okay, Ullman, right? Harris and Ullman. So you will find their models. You need to write accordingly. देखो according to it, morphological features are plain like this, or it can be of presence of morphological features like road, river, or that kind of thing. It lead to some changes, and even again new features like in Delhi, you will find multiple centers in operation, right? So that is how say this morphological factors, road, railway, okay, government policies or housing or type of say residents, it defines the origin and nature of the town, right? So urban city planning, this is really important. So that is what given over here guys. These are what those aspects, and write it finally how it helpful in regional planning, how this thing is helpful in urban regional planning. ठीक है, conclusion, the best way to conclude the thing. Okay, yes guys, and the most common question, right? ये तो question तो GS3 में भी आएगा. How transportation accessibility promotes economic development? Is it? Easy तो question है, right? Transportation, it promotes a market availability, it ensure employment, it ensure tax revenue to the government, it ensures a resource utilizations of the resource scarcity region and resource rich region also. It promotes or it connect two different region, and ultimately you will find a development, right? So economic development is again the output of or the result of ट्रांसपोर्टेशन. यस, देखो वर्ल्ड में वैसे भी तो ट्रांसपोर्टेशन ने बहुत इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट लाया है, राइट? एज आई टोल्ड यू 90% ऑफ ट्रेड इन द वर्ल्ड इज बाय मैरीटाइम ट्रेड, मैरीटाइम ट्रांसपोर्टेशन. डोंट यू थिंक इट हैज एंश्योर इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट? Absolutely, it has led to, right? So this is what you made to. So in introduction, write about the significance of transport, right? And say about the concept of plastic space, right? Then you can write transportation accessibility and regional development. So as I told you, market availability होगा, inputs मिलेंगे, labor, cheap labor availability, और say enough labor ability, influx of ideas, health and education, taxation, industry. This point no doubt will lead to regional economic development. It lead to regional economic development. I am telling you again, the more diverse your points, the more marks you will be getting, right? So here you can connect with the growth pole theory of Bourdeville, okay? Growth center concept or urban sprawl concept also over here, ठीक है? Though it is negative in the sense, but yes, you can connect it with the that way also. urbanization. Okay, and this is how you need to conclude further. Then explain the geometrical boundaries with examples. So straight question hai. The one who is quite aware about the say this geometrical boundary, absolutely right. Like geometric boundaries means what? As simple, those boundary which are straight in line, maybe circular or maybe semicircular or in a typical geometrical shape. These are geometrical boundaries. Now explain this thing, like say with example, that say for example, even for India sometimes it is what, say Radcliffe has used this geometrical boundaries, means he on paper he has drawn a straight line or the line and it divided India and Pakistan. That is what, say the kind of geometrical line you can connect it. US Canada, you will find that kind of best example. Okay? US Canada and even African countries, they are say the result of this. So this thing. Then mention, हाँ yes limitations of the geometrical boundaries, वो भी तो लिखना होगा ना हमें, क्योंकि सिर्फ one end थोड़ी ना लिखना है. So limitation but in a conclusion, ठीक है, limitations in a conclusion. It is what it divides the community. It is basically a border, leads to frequent border disputes. It ignores the culture of the people, right? And that is the reason, say you have to focus more on frontiers. In the end, write about frontiers. Now this concept, I know guys, you are all aware about this concept, okay, frontiers and boundaries, right, the difference between. So end it with the frontiers. Right, Shubham, even SDG 11 talks about inclusive transport. Yes, you can absolutely write SDG, absolutely. You have to, in fact, कि जितना SDGs डालोगे या गवर्नमेंट के 5-year plans है, नीति के रिपोर्ट है, that will make your answer further more say mark fetching as such. Then this is the most interesting question. Culture is a dynamic concept. अब इसका इंट्रोडक्शन कंक्लूजन क्या करोगे? कल्चर, डिफाइन द कल्चर, द फर्स्ट इट्स नेचर, देन इन मेन बॉडी हाउ इट इज डायनामिक, व्हाई इट इज डायनामिक, एंड देन इन द एंड हाउ इट लीड्स टू सम बेनिफिट्स एज सच एंड प्रॉब्लम्स आल्सो. तो कल्चर इज बेसिकली दैट इट इज द रिलेशनशिप बिटवीन मैन एंड एनवायरमेंट, व्हिच इज ए रिफ्लेक्शन ऑफ मैन एंड environment relationship, right? So culture is, it changes with space and time. देखो, even at this moment of time, now to conserve water may be a ethical value in one particular society, but it may not be in the society, right? जैसे कि हमारे इंडिया में देखो, इंडिया में यूएस के कंपैरिजन में 7 टाइम लेस इलेक्ट्रिसिटी कंजम्पशन है. तो यूएस में इलेक्ट्रिसिटी कंजर्वेशन के लिए उतना कल्चर है नहीं. इंडिया इज हैविंग दैट काइंड ऑफ कल्चर, राइट? और इवन से इट चेंजेस विद सेम स्पेस एट द सेम मोमेंट ऑफ टाइम, एंड इट चेंजेस विद टाइम आल्सो. लाइक से फॉर एग्जांपल इन इंडिया, you know the status of women in the ancient time, right? Then later during the then Mughal times or Sultanate time, and now in modern India. देखो कल्चर है बट वो टाइम के साथ भी चेंज हो रहा है, एंड दैट इट मेक्स कल्चर इज हाईली dynamic concept. The more example you can write about, over here you need to write about cultural landscape of Karl Ossuer, or you need to write about cultural determinism. Mention it over here. जितना ज़्यादा geographical angle add करोगे, you will find it is more mark fetching. Cultural determinism, how it leads to, add view of Ellen Churchill sample over here. So वो आपका आंसर और ज़्यादा स्ट्रॉन्ग बनाएगा, ठीक है? सो यस, आई हैव गिवन यू द ब्रॉड आउटलाइन, मेन बॉडी, हाउ इट चेंजेस विद स्पेस एंड टाइम, राइट इट लाइक ट्राइबल कल्चर. देखो एक ही टाइम में मॉडर्न कल्चर ऑफ इंडिया और सिविलाइजेशन मॉडल, देन डेजर्ट कल्चर, डेजर्ट में कुछ और कल्चर है, नॉर्थ ईस्ट इंडिया में कुछ और कल्चर है, अफ्रीका में कुछ और कल्चर है एट द सेम मोमेंट ऑफ टाइम. दैट इज वॉट कल्चर इज हाईली डायनामिक कंसेप्ट, राइट? सो राइट इट इन दिस वे. And how it changes with time, you can write Naga culture evolved with the time, or you can take other examples also. So it makes this answer more thing, ठीक है? Then conclusion, you can write the significance or challenges that it lead to due to this dynamism. Next, it's about automation. Now automation is rapidly changing the economies of labor and will affect trade patterns in significant way? Clarify. देखो क्वेश्चन बहुत स्ट्रेट है. They are not going to ask you critically examine. They are not going to ask you say about say any other tailender. Clarify, justify, elaborate, right? So question is, and paper is quite straight. Now guys, automation, what I am telling you, that don't limit yourself, okay? Yes, don't limit yourself only with the technological implication of automation. Now try to be more इंडस्ट्री से बाहर भी सोचो, क्योंकि जब भी हम ऑटोमेशन आएगा तो यहाँ पे रोबोट आएगा विच इज लाइक से डूइंग ए इंडस्ट्रियल वर्क. नो, ऑटोमेशन इज ऑल्सो इन लॉजिस्टिक, ऑटोमेशन इज ऑल्सो इन ट्रांसपोर्टेशन, automation is also in urbanization, automation is also in say beyond that workspace. So you have to think beyond this way, right? So when you add it into introduction में, because you are going to define automation, और आपने अगर यहाँ नैरो डिफाइन कर दी ना, तो आपको मेन बॉडी में भी नैरो वे से ही आंसर लिखना होगा. And that is the reason, try to be more say broader in the way. So automation is not only about industrial labor, it's about logistic, transportation, urbanization, workspace and outside. So ऐसे वे में अगर डिफाइन करोगे, that will be more easy to, right? कि फिर आप नेक्स्ट वाला पार्ट ज़्यादा डाइवर्स करोगे. मेन बॉडी, so how it affects economies of labor, how it affects trade pattern, how it affects trade pattern. So how it affect, as simple, देखो, it due to this thing you will find some bulk production. पहले देखो हैंडमेड प्रोडक्शन होता था, अब क्या हो गया, बल्क प्रोडक्शन हो गया, रोबोट है, सीएनसी मशीन, राइट, द काइंड. और से अर्बन टू रूरल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन, ट्रेड पैटर्न चेंज हो गया. और से डेवलप टू डेवलपिंग कंट्री, यू कैन ऐड मेनी डिमेंशंस ओवर हियर आल्सो. So the more you think about this pattern, you will say get accordingly. Now write it over here about possibilism and add the perspective of Vidal de Blache. And in conclusion, yeah, way to keep this balance maintained, right? In way to keep this balance maintained. Then this is the most common problem, and it is about Indian cities. Even though it is paper 1, but UPSC has reserved all right कि वो पेपर 2 का क्वेश्चन पेपर 1 में भी पूछेंगे, पेपर 1 का क्वेश्चन पेपर 2 में भी पूछेंगे, सेक्शन A and B also, right? So it is having UPSC is right all. Guys, overcrowding, and I don't think so no one can better understand this thing more than our Indians. Because we are already the most populous country, or one of the most populous, right? World population prospect के according, India will be most populous country by 2023. So we are almost about to overtake China. And in many mega cities in India, you will find population density even more than 10,000. Delhi 11,200 something like, right? Or Mumbai 10,000 plus. So such an overcrowding lead to life miserable. इस पर आर्टिकल भी था इंडियन एक्सप्रेस पे, राइट? सो यू कैन गो थ्रू दैट वे ऑल्सो, बट it leads to a chronic problems of shortage of housing. Now the question is so specific about overcrowding and housing, so you need to keep these two end connected, right? Because UPSC has given you the other end. It is not written as overcrowding is a problem in urban society. No, overcrowding, it affects shortage of housing. Now write it over how it leads to housing issues. Okay, so have a look over some data. Now data over here make your argument more stronger, right? So India urban housing shortage has risen from 54% to 29 million in 18 to 18 million in 2012. मतलब almost 54% times, right? It has increased. It has due to rise in population. Now what you need to write introduction, start with the data, right? It would be better if you start with the data for this kind of question. I am telling you, you should not restrict yourself in one specific strategy, that I will be starting with definition. Now tell me guys, how you are going to say define overcrowding now? कोई sense भी नहीं बन रहा, right? And it is of no use over there. So the thing is, you need to change your strategy based on question. The way UPSC has asked the question write it accordingly. ठीक है? So data for this overcrowding, then main body, write how this overcrowding leads to a housing shortage. Like say land scarcity है, land pollution है, administrative difficulties है, you can add further more points. Okay, like say it also lead to overcrowding, it leads to just like say slum development है, again housing shortage है. Okay, and you can say add many things again, say accordingly, deforestation and again lead to that issues also. ठीक है? So this way, and finally write the way forward, how to manage even in this situation. क्योंकि हम ये तो नहीं कर सकते अब जो ओवरक्राउडिंग हो गई या पॉपुलेशन जो है तो वो तो हम कम नहीं कर पाएंगे. द थिंग इज व्हाट आर द वेज फॉरवर्ड? डेवलप सैटेलाइट टाउन्स, develop say parallel urbanization in the region, say for de-urbanizations of the cities. De-urbanization means the overcrowding limit करने के लिए you can say give incentives for these dwellers to move outside, right? And that it makes this thing. Mention PM Awas Yojana over here. PM Awas Yojana, urban housing for all by 2022. So you have to write it over there, right? Current affairs issue. Then now the second last question, seventh, climate change is a serious problem to global food security and poverty. Current ही है? Yes. अब देखो अभी इस क्वेश्चन पे yes आज भी आर्टिकल है. yes, तो आज भी आर्टिकल है, right? Hindu, Indian Express, you can say go through this thing. Now this kind of question I am repeating again has to start with the data only. You have to understand guys कि which type of question, okay, has to start with this definition, fact, say any kind of other quote or like the way, right? तो ये जैसे answer write करोगे you will get to know about it. Now the demand is as simple, connect climate change and global food security and poverty. So in introduction define the climate change also, possibly define the climate change क्योंकि आगे आपको वो scope नहीं मिलेगा define करने का, right? So define in the sense the various aspect which you are going to write it over here now. What? Say the climate change, it leads to decline in agriculture productivity. देखो food insecurity हो रही है फिर से, yes, nutritional issues, or it lead to ecosystem imbalance, again in food insecurity. Then problem of labor, increase in diseases, climate change, yes, IPCC report है over this thing. And you can follow this thing also. Mention this resources over there or reports. Then disasters, gender impact which lead to food insecurity. Again climate change lead to loss of job, disaster displacement which lead to poverty, and food insecurity again lead to poverty. So ultimately the climate change is having that impact on overall socio-economic aspect. Socio-economic aspect, and you need to connect it with this way, right? I have given you this example कि आपको connect कैसा करना है, तो वो और भी ज़्यादा easy रहेगा आपके लिए. Then conclusion, yeah, optimized way to control this climate change and its intensity, right? वो तो you can connect with the Paris deal, you can now connect it with the net zero targets of ours, right? And say again Panchamrit strategy by Prime Minister, you can say write it over there. Technological help, how say the technological help will help us to manage this thing. Then critically examine the significance of quantitative revolution and its influence in the development of geography. The most common repetitively asked question is this, guys. Shubham, this would also focus on 5-year plans and current government schemes for, yes, exactly, Shubham, yes, that's why I told you, PM Awas Yojana, housing for all, 5-year plans, Niti Aayog strategy you will find, okay, Niti Aayog 3-year strategy, you need to write it over there, sure. So the more you connect it with the current affair, right, today, okay, the initiatives of government, you will be getting more mark. क्योंकि आपका आंसर करंट अफेयर कब बनेगा या आपका ज्योग्राफिकल आंसर करंट से इंटीग्रेट कब होगा? By this particular thing. Then critically examine the influence of quantitative revolution and its influence in the development of geography. दो पार्ट है. One, development of significance of QR, and second, the development of geography. Two part and easy to answer for. And this is the most repetitive thing. Those who are say now quite say handy in geography preparation, or those who have been preparing since a long, they know this is the most recurring theme of the geography, quantitative revolution, right? तो इसमें फिर आपको वही लिखना है, introduced with the quantitative revolution, write about positivism, right, of favor, fact speaks for themselves, write about what is the definition, how Schaffer was in favor of the quantitative revolution, why he was say striving more for generalization, what is the need for, right? Then what is the significance of quantitative revolution? That quantitative revolution make the subject nomothetic to, it make the subject say more nomothetic, more generalized, formula oriented, fact and data utilizable, okay, society solution oriented problems, right? And it avoid the say extremity of the world or regional variations as such, right? So it saved geography because it was developed during the time jab geography was say removed as a subject of university science, and that is the significance of quantitative revolution. It makes geography alive, and thus से क्वांटिटेटिव रिवॉल्यूशन का जो सिग्निफिकेंस बनता है, इसीलिए क्वेश्चन भी है, राइट? रिकरिंग थिंग्स है ऑफ द ज्योग्राफी, ठीक है? देन यूनिवर्सल साइंस, या आई ऑलरेडी टोल्ड यू, मेक इट यूनिवर्सल साइंस, जनरलाइज्ड, fact and figure data utilization, like gravity model, like say crystallar center place theory, Weber's industrial model, right? Or say von Thunen's model. These are all examples of quantitative revolution, though von Thunen was quite earlier, but it is still considered as the part of it. Then how it developed geography, geography के development में क्या contribution, and specifically after 1940s, right? 1940s was the time which considered the peak period of quantitative revolution development and afterwards. So quantitative revolution made geography a universal science, more solution oriented, more generalized in nature, right? It has added a one approach to geographical study, क्योंकि पहले ना physical geography ही बहुत ज़्यादा study होता था, right? So that way, and हाँ, one most important thing which UPSC always asked you about applied part, क्योंकि UPSC में देखो syllabus जब change हुआ है तब आपको applied part दिखेगा, and this applied part is the result of quantitative revolution, and not only its positive way, but even its criticism also led to enrichment of geography, and that's really an achievement in itself. So we as a student of geography should be thankful to quantitative revolution, because even its positive and even its approach and even its criticism, right, it added this or enriched the geography. Say criticism से आया humanism, criticism से आया है welfare geography, yeah, the Scandinavian countries, and even now India is now following this approach. Criticism से आया है radical geography, feminism, anarchism, right? You will say find all these are the results of this way, and that is the thing. Quantitative revolution is really significant. There are some limitations, you can say write say limitations over there also, ठीक है, limitations over there, but do prepare guys, this is what the question which you will find always in every examination. If it is not तो humanism पे आएगा, if it is not तो welfareism पे आएगा, कहीं ना कहीं तो क्वेश्चन बनेगा 100%, राइट? तो आपको वो क्वेश्चन प्रिपेयर करना ही है. Then explain in detail the impact of regional disparities on economic development. Have a look over guys. Earlier question was transportation accessibility on economic development, and now regional disparity on economic development. Are you getting? Say देखो यूपीएससी के पास themes भी नहीं बचे, and that's why I am telling you, the more you analyze the previous year paper, you will get to know say the that question paper will be much more predictable. देखो यहीं पे 2 क्वेश्चन है, इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट बाय ट्रांसपोर्टेशन, इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट अफेक्टेड ड्यू टू रीजनल डिस्पैरिटी. डन. So if you prepare that way in that particular approach, you are already say done enough. Are you getting this thing right guys? So this way, introduction, right, write about regional disparities, right? तो अब रीजनल डिस्पैरिटीज क्या क्या किस सेंस में हो सकती है? इज इट ओनली इन टर्म्स ऑफ इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट? नो, रीजनल डिस्पैरिटी इज ऑल्सो इन टर्म्स ऑफ इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेवलपमेंट, इट इज ऑल्सो इन टर्म्स ऑफ इंडस्ट्रियल डेवलपमेंट, इट इज ऑल्सो इन टर्म्स ऑफ क्लाइमेटिक डेवलपमेंट है, इट मे बी ऑल्सो इन टर्म्स ऑफ से government and administrative disparities also, right? Government is providing best facilities or say facilities and governance in one particular part, and it is unable to provide in the other part, or maybe due to whatever reason it is, right? So these are all disaster governance disparity also you can connect it with it, right? So these are all different types. I am telling you, the more you make your answer multidimensional, क्योंकि अगर disparity का meaning सिर्फ आपने एक limited रखा, so you are not going to get mark. You need to be more multidimensional in approach, more diverse. So I have given you this way, that this is what, say, those different types of disparities, regional disparities, right? And how it is impacting on economic development. Now you can absolutely connect each of this with economic development, how it impact adversely. Done? Then it would be absolutely done. ठीक है? So say it impact on income, it impact on inequality, under potential, poor state administration governance, it lead to migration, it lead to low productivity, and you can connect it with the economic development, how it adversely impact the economic development, and this makes your answer more fun. Now connect over here again, see growth pole theory, right, of Bourdeville, growth pole theory, right? You can connect it and mention the step government has taken to minimize, or it should take to minimize the thing, right? हो गया, okay, as simple. Then Lee's theorem, migration. You guys, you are all aware about push and pull factor, right? So tell me in the comment box also that what do you mean by push and pull factor? Yes, Savina. Push, pull factor, and push. Push, which say move, which force the migrant, okay, potential migrant to move outside, okay. Exactly. Yes. So push and pull factor, you know it well. It is a Lee's concept. Okay. Lee, he was again geographer. So according to him, there are some push factor and pull factor which makes a potential migrant a migrant, and in between you will find some intervening factors also. Okay. Intervening factors. Intervening, it means what? That those factors, those are impact, having their significant impact on the whether that migrant will move outside or not. Like say for example transportation cost. कभी कभी हम ये देखकर भी कहीं जाएंगे या कहीं नहीं जाएंगे अगर ट्रांसपोर्टेशन कॉस्ट बहुत ज़्यादा हो रही है, राइट? सो इट मेक्स अकॉर्डिंगली. सो द क्वेश्चन इज हाउ माइग्रेशन इज अफेक्टेड बाय पुश एंड पुल फैक्टर. एक्सप्लेन हाउ दिस फैक्टर प्ले रोल इन अंडरस्टैंडिंग इन न्यू सेटलमेंट. दो पार्ट है. दिस इज थ्योरेटिकल, दिस इज समहाउ applicable base, applied base, right? So yes, why not? Absolutely you can attempt it, guys. Start by defining push and pull factor. वही करने पड़ेगा क्योंकि कोड तो वही है, right? So in main body, show how this push and pull factor are key determinant of migration. Say by example, देखो push और pull factor तो intensity of migration define करेंगे, yes? कि कितना, say whether someone, say in COVID-19, it led to huge intensity of migrants. Yes, अगर कोविड नहीं होता तो नॉर्मल केस में इतने थोड़ी ना माइग्रेंट्स आते. Yeah, so that's the case. Or nature, whether male is dominant migrant or whether female is dominant, whether urban dominant है या whether rural dominant है, it depends on, right? Distance decay formula of Ravenstein over here, gender, then time of migration. It all defines by, say, this push and pull factors. You need to have case studies over there. And then part 2, how these factors plays a role in settlement pattern or settlement. Simply, how this push and pull factor will help a regional geographer to plan accordingly. This is what the question is, I believe. ठीक है, ऐसा ही क्वेश्चन है, आपको उसी वे से लिखना है. देखो, don't you think that migration will help us to define कि जो नई लोकेशन बनेगी वो न्यूक्लिएटेड होगी या सेमी न्यूक्लिएटेड होगी या डिस्पर्स होगी, कितनी पॉपुलेशन डेंसिटी होगी, या अर्बन या होगी या रूरल होगी, या लोकेशन ऑफ सेटलमेंट से अकॉर्डिंगली you will find the type of settlement, living standard, morphology of settlement. You can connect it further more, demography of settlement also. You can define transportation requirements of settlement also. Don't you think, guys? In India, now migratory population is more than the natural growth of population. जो इंडिया में लास्ट डिकेड में नेचुरल ग्रोथ हुई थी उससे कहीं ज्यादा माइग्रेटरी ग्रोथ है हमारे पास अब. And that's how it is really important that we have to say understand this push and pull factor and write it over there. Why not? You can absolutely write it. Say how this push and pull factor and migration will help us to define. Guys, say I have given you at least 10 points. You can absolutely make a good answer based on it, right? And in the conclusion, how this understanding helpful for regional planner? Done. Right, regional planner. Then explain the relevance and applicability of von Thunen theory of agricultural location in today's world. Again, most recurring thing, either von Thunen, either crystallar central place theory, either Losch model, or either Weber's industrial location theory. हर्टलैंड रिमलैंड पे भी क्वेश्चन रहेगा. तो यू विल फाइंड दिस इज दी मोस्ट रिकरिंग थिंग्स है और यूपीएससी उस पे ही क्वेश्चन पूछे. यूपीएससी के पास सिलेबस ही लिमिटेड है तो फिर कहाँ से क्वेश्चन बनेंगे. एंड दैट्स व्हाई आई एम टेलिंग यू शुड हैव सिलेबस ऑन टिप ऑफ योर टंग. द मोर से यू आर हैविंग इट, से इट वुड बी इजी फॉर यू गाइस. देन एज सिंपल इट इज आस्किंग यू फॉर एप्लीकेबिलिटी. नो एप्लीकेबिलिटी इन द सेंस व्हाट, फर्स्ट इन द इंट्रोडक्शन एक्सप्लेन अबाउट द थ्योरी, एक्सप्लेन कर देंगे. एंड डोंट फॉरगेट टू मेंशन, पूरी थ्योरी एक्सप्लेन नहीं करेंगे क्योंकि क्वेश्चन नहीं पूछ रहा है, क्वेश्चन इज आस्किंग फॉर एप्लीकेबिलिटी. सो डोंट फॉरगेट टू मेंशन ओनली क्रिटिकल और की एरियाज ऑफ वॉन थ्योरम, क्रॉप इंटेंसिटी थ्योरी, ओके, और लैंड रेंट मॉडल, ओके, और से डिस्टेंस डिके मॉडल ऑफ इट, राइट, सिग्निफिकेंस ऑफ ट्रांसपोर्टेशन कॉस्ट. ड्रॉ दिस डायग्राम एंड नाउ apply, show how it is applicable on say a different basis, like say for Europe, for North America, for Africa and other regional basis, some in India also. ठीक है, so you can say connect it. Then write why it is not applicable and where it is not applicable also, right? ये भी तो लिखना होगा हमें. It just because it is not the case you are only supposed to write only about applicability. No, you also have to write about non-application of this von Thunen model, because that makes your answer more balanced. Okay, so write about the limitation and in the conclusion write how it enrich the land use planning. Don't you think, guys, that von Thunen's agricultural location model will helpful for land use planning? क्योंकि यही तो कह रहा है ना कि मार्केट के सराउंडिंग में 6 डिफरेंट जोन्स रहेंगे, वेयर यू विल फाइंड डेयरी एंड फार्मिंग, देन फॉरेस्ट्री, देन जोन 1, जोन 2, ओके, सीरियल जोन, then no fallow land, then 3 field system, and ultimately at the outside you will find say pasture lands, forest and pasture lands. So this theory is say letting you know about land use planning, how to plan your land and regional development. Okay, that is the thing. And the last question, discuss the concept of rank size rule as given by G.K. Ziff. It is the model of quantitative revolution, the model which we discussed earlier. देखो quantitative revolution में एक क्वेश्चन है and उसके उस मॉडल पर एक क्वेश्चन है further. von Thunen is also quantitative revolution model. So is this rule is relevant in Indian context? Still paper 1 you will find Indian geography. Okay, now what you have to write about say introduction. अब इंट्रोडक्शन में क्या करना है? as simple guys, right? You have to start it with Ziff, his rank size model. Then what are his core? Always do remember, whenever if the question is asking for theory and its applicability, always in introduction focused on core idea, क्योंकि आप पूरी theory तो explain नहीं कर पाएंगे. In that case focus on mention those core ideas which you are going to explain further or you are going to use further. Okay, तो ये कर लेंगे. Like say ZIF. Now what is the core idea of the ZIF? That according to him, if you arrange cities of the world, okay, or any region in say incremental order, the population of the city n is say the 1 by nth time of that of population 1. Say for example, अगर rank 10 city, right, अगर इसकी population निकालनी है, draw करनी है, तो आपको population 1 से जो भी city है उसकी population पता होनी है, and then it is divided by 10. You will find that thing, right, it ultimately leads to population of rank 10 city. That is what the ZIP concept, it is of a quantitative revolution model. So in order to check it applicability, you need to understand or you need to explain in your answer the core concept of ZIF. Draw that graph, draw diagram also, right, it will make this understanding more clear, right. Write this equation also there and then discuss applicabilities, right, its applicability. You will find it is applicable in small regions in India, Jammu and Kashmir, some part in northeastern region, you will find its applicability, okay? But you won't find its applicability in say like say region of Maharashtra, region of South India, right, South, North India also, you won't find that thing. It's just because there are multiple cities which are say developmental center, like say Maharashtra, Mumbai and Pune, they are more or less equal developmental cities, so you cannot have this principle over there, right, and that's the thing, say it is having its own limitation. Now when you will be writing limitations, do write the concept of primate city, okay. Primate city, it means what? This is the concept of Jefferson, and according to him, this primate city is the one city which dominate the other region. Like say in Nepal, you only know about Kathmandu, right, बाकी कोई और city हमको पता नहीं. या in Bhutan, it is only Thimphu which is capital of Bhutan, right, वो ही पता है. Other we are not aware about, and that it makes a primate city, primacy, right, primate concept. So this makes this thing more easy to limitations as such, and primate city was so critical of ZIF model, so you can write it accordingly. Jefferson was a student of Vidal, okay, so you can say aware about this thing also. Then conclusion mentions the limitations and also write how geographer can plan better with the help of this combination. Combination means ZIF's rank size rule model, primate city concept and urban development as such. You will find that is getting more better regional planning. So all these are a planning approaches. So this is how we have discussed almost say yes section A and section B say thoroughly, right. We have taken, I know we have taken much more time for that matter, but just we wanted to discuss in much detail क्योंकि आपके कोई doubts ना रहे, and that's why I have given you that PPT also in written format with the demand, introduction, main body, conclusion, right. So that will be, I believe that will be much more helpful for you guys to say how to approach paper 1. And yes, tomorrow also we will be having a discussion on paper 2, Indian geography, right, with the same pattern. I will be giving you this paper 1, right, in demand, introduction, conclusion, that kind of thing also, and this PPT also, okay, that will be attached in the comment box, right. So if you want it, you can say download it accordingly, so you can have that understanding, right, how to approach these questions. So this is all about from me, guys. Yes, thank you for being here. Please like, share and comment to our channel, and thank you. Be present tomorrow also for paper 2 discussion. Thank you. हो गया.